Hello and welcome to Wade's Weekly Wanderings for this January 22nd, 2025. It is the second Sunday after Epiphany, and this edition of Wade's Weekly Wanderings is going to be a little bit different because I'm going to summarize kind of my voter's address about the state of St. John's and just my observations for the last few years here. And a more extensive version of this will be going out into our weekly email. So if you want to see all of the data, you want to see all of the numbers, you want to see all of the statistics, plus very fascinating quotes by Isaac the Syrian, who is completely cut for this out of the sake of time, please do so. And if you do not get our weekly email, please let us know in the church office, and we will make sure that you do indeed get it sent to you, because that is where you find out about our Potato Pancake Supper coming up this Friday. That is where you find out about Euchre Night coming up this Saturday. This is where you find out all the details of National Lutheran Schools Week, which will be celebrating from Sunday to Sunday here at St. John's and having a book fair and all of the like. And so I'd encourage you again, if you do not get our Walt Street Journal from our school or our weekly email from the church office, please let us know, because there is gold in each of those emails and a way to better understand our relationship here to each other and the community that surrounds us. But the heart of my report is centered on one quote I found by G.K. Chesterton, and that quote is, "The problem of Christianity is not that it has been tried and found wanting, but that it had been found difficult and left untried." And this has been part of my experience as a pastor. The seminary prepares you for making sure that you know you're supposed to be there because you have call documents. The seminary is very good at reiterating again and again that God is God and you are not. The seminary is fantastic at undercutting our English language with the real languages of Scripture, the Greek and the Hebrew and the like. And you have a very intellectual understanding of the faith and are able to answer most of the questions. However, the seminary doesn't always prepare you for the wet blanketness of the church at best, or the despair that a church and community can cause at worst. And so in my experiences over the course of time, there have been moments where you question and wonder if this is the community that you're supposed to be in. And I pulled out my call documents and seen that it's unanimous that the seminary, the council of presidents, the district president, the people of St. John's, and the elders here all desire me to be here. And yet, anecdotally and objectively within my head and my experience, you still wonder and you still doubt. And so how do you reconcile what is ontologically actually true, these documents are correct, versus what is experientially or existentially uncertain? Because we have this tension within us that causes us and makes us wonder if this is the right place or the place for us. And so just by way of example, you've had experiences like this, where you were feeling good, you got up ready, and you were impactful, and you went to church, and you had a blessed time, and then as you were leaving, somebody made some snide comment, or you overhear something that is wildly unchristian, or maybe you float right into the sanctuary and float right out of the sanctuary with only me or Pastor Jones shaking your hand and saying hi to you, and everybody else couldn't care less whether you're there or not. And so with this, the walls tend to come up, and we want to isolate ourselves from the community, and by doing that, we've further splintered this relationship that we should have with each other that would build each other up. And so the point of this is that I've had these exact same experiences. I understand that you could be incredibly excited about an event, incredibly excited and filled up after a sermon or after a study or after someone greets you with a hug, only to then immediately be met with somebody that asks a divisive question about something that you had nothing to do with. At least that's my experience more than once. Or having the wet blanket, or kind of just the undercutting of no one else said hi to me, or the undercutting and the destruction that can happen when, oh, I've been here every week and this person says they haven't seen me in a long time. Does anybody even notice or care whether I'm here or not? And this grows and this festers, and this allows the bitter pill to set within our hearts that then becomes something that we have to wrestle with. And we begin questioning whether or not God's love appears to be similar to the love of the people in the place of worship that I attend. And I would wager, by observation from anecdotes and questions and emails and texts and letters and all sorts of things that I've received here as the pastor of St. John's, that it's worth it. The majority of the people here want more out of St. John's. And I can tell you, as your pastor, or one of your pastors, we want to be able to provide you more and give you more and inculcate more life here for all of us so that we know that we're all together with Christ. And so I want to share my own anecdote for this. You're watching this because someone was vulnerable and intrusive in your life. Now, the caveat is, of course, this could be your parents who were already invested here at St. John's, who dragged you kicking and screaming to the baptismal font, where you were made into the family, son or daughter of Christ. You could have come here as a part of our day school, and you have your children here, and you're invested in here through their confirmation process, even though they don't want to attend game night or do the workbooks or go to confirmation. But nonetheless, somebody was intrusive into your life and cared enough about you to show you the truth, that Christ is Lord and that you are forgiven and you're his beloved sons and daughters. My encouragement would be intrusive into each other's life. Just as a way of example, again, if you're a member of Wings and you're sitting in a pew and you see a mom struggling to keep their children under control, be stilted, be awkward, and ask if they need a hand. Be stilted and be awkward and ask them to join our women's retreat coming up in May on the 17th, tentatively. And this then becomes the bridge. And the more often you make little concessions and little invitations like this, the more organic the community here will be community. And the less likely someone is going to have that wet blanket thrown over their desire to learn more about Christ, or the despair that can be found in feeling isolated and utterly alone. And so to be as humble as I can in what I'm about to say, and I hope I'm revealed well enough to know that I do mean this humbly, I think our believing here is fantastic. When I go and visit those who are in hospice, those who are near the end of their lives, and they make a stout confession of Christ, that there is no other God, that we are saved by his precious blood and innocent suffering and death, I know you guys believe in Jesus. I think our teaching here, again, not in the most humble way I can, when I hear our students recite the catechism and I hear the parents interact with them and talk about the faith and wrestle with these things, and just the insights that they have in the 7th and 8th grade classroom in our Bible study, we got the teaching down. We have the catechism, we've got catechesis, we've got 2,500 years of our liturgy and the modifications that have happened and the additions that only further adorn what Christ is doing for each of us on a Sunday morning or a Wednesday or any of the days that we do chapel. We've got that believing and teaching down here at St. John's. But I think our love is fragmented, and I think at times we get closed off in our clusters, because there's a solid like 6 or 7 at least clusters here where we all know each other, we're all in each other's business, we're all comfortable being family together as long as we're involved in fill in the blank. And it becomes very difficult to reach out beyond these individual clusters to have an impact and to be that awkward person, to be that stilted person the first few times that has to re-ask for names or re-ask for information to further synthesize our life together here. And so my encouragement to you would be to be the vulnerable one, be the intrusive one, be the awkward one that has to re-ask the name, that has to re-ask the family history, that has to re-ask whether or not this is a person's first time here. And you're going to feel awful, and you're going to feel terrible. But I am telling you, that is how we create the more that I think we all desire, that I've observed everybody wanting. The more is only created, as ambiguous as a term as that is, by being these people to one another. And so, stumble foolishly forward in your faithfulness and in your encouragement to love and build each other up. Because again, the objective data is there. Like, our attendance has gone up every year for the last 6 years. Our giving has gone up every year for the last 6 years. I use the 6 years because that's COVID and the pandemic, and that's an easy baseline to see growth. But all of these things have objectively been true for 6 years. But subjectively, in our experiences and our interactions with each other, it doesn't always feel that way. This is, again, the 6th year I got to tell our voters meeting that everything objectively is healthier than the vast majority of churches in our country. And just by way of as an example is the standard bog-sized congregation that we are, the average worship attendance is 201 in any given week, and ours is 304. We've worshiped 80% of our membership in our building in the last year, and that does not account those who are homebound or shut in that Pastor Jones and I minister to and our elders go and attend to. And so, as I say, Wings, reach out to the ladies. that are in need. There are a lot of young families here that could use your encouragement, and one great idea that our Wings group has had is to put on a retreat for moms this May. So be looking for more information about that. Men, we do have a men's group that still meets, and there's a ridiculous chat thread that is always popping off with invitations for that. And our elders reach out and call these people and invite them and let them know that these things happen here. Because there is incredible things that happen here on a daily basis that I get to see, because I'm kind of helicoptering over all of these things and I have to be aware of all of these things, but not everybody else is. And so just one more anecdote about this, and I'll tie this up, is we got 649 members in our church community and about 1,700 in our broader community with our school and grandparents and things like this. I generally have a pretty good idea of what's going on in all of those families. My encouragement would be to answer that question for yourself and truly wrestle with whether you can identify what's going on in 30 families or 60 families or 285 families. And if the answer is yes, use that ability to connect, to network, and to encourage. We're great at doing this organically, but if we're all foolishly ridiculous in our approach to each other, we can better communicate this intentionally and grow. Now, once again, I don't care about the church numbers. My encouragement is I would rather have deeper relationships than a billion acquaintances and the like. And so the only way we can achieve that is to be there and be in each other's business, whatever it may be. As ridiculous as paying off somebody else's mortgage, to buying them lunch, to just say, hey, I brought extra diapers for the nursery. This is how that is fostered, and this is how that grows. Like I said, I would defer to the weekly email for the more extensive report where all of this is broadened out, and you get some great quotes by Isaac the Syrian. Hung on to that A for a little bit too long. But I do want to announce some things. This Friday is our Potato Pancake Supper. You know what to do. We'll be here, we'll be eating, we'll be drinking, and, well, I guess eat, drink, and be merry without alcohol, just to be clear. There's no alcohol on campus, but please attend that. Our Euchre Night is coming up. If you are a card shark, this is a reminder that the ticket has to be purchased in advance, so we make sure we have enough cards and enough tables to foster this. They can get them from the church or school office. As I mentioned, Lutheran Schools Week is next week, so this Sunday the book fair will be in our fellowship hall. Next Sunday we will have all of the kids in there with our living wax museum, and so the littles will be animals, and I hope none of them will be wolves, because if you push their button they might bite you and turn you into a werewolf. But the older kids will be historical figures or people who are of note in history, and you'll be able to push their button and have them give you a speech that tells you about their life, and it'll be a blast. Our Daddy-Daughter Dance is coming up February 7th, and I encourage you to attend. If you have experienced this in the past, it's a great way to pass on to the next generation of fathers and their daughters a great facilitation of music and crafts and games and all of the things that go into that. We always need help blowing up balloons, because we bring in the air compressor and they all pop. So we do it the old-fashioned way. Our Trivia Night is coming up February 21st. You can register for that in our weekly email or come see us in the church office. There is a lot going on here that you can be involved in should you so choose. One additional note is this is a new branch of communication that's been going since September, but this is not the only branch of communication. So, for instance, when we're junior high, we send out a packet every fall for what the events are going to be. We hit our kids in the school with a pamphlet so that way they can know when the events are and talk about it amongst themselves and kind of grassroots get excited about the things that we do here. And then as a part of our confirmation catechesis, they get all of that and more, where they can serve, where they can interact, and where they can be a part of our life together here. These are the three ways we know how to communicate, through the video, through announcements, through handouts. If you've got suggestions on how we can better communicate, or you've got the time to dedicate a couple hours a week into diversifying how we communicate, please let us know. Because at the end of the day, we do what we know how to do. And we don't have the luxury all the time of thinking outside of the box on how to do more. And so we're always looking for feedback, or we're always looking for additional people who want to be plugged in that way or have the skills to do that. And so please let us know. Last thing I got for you is our Wildcat of the Week. I'm going to call it, since we didn't have school this week, based on information I got last week, from Joey Inch. And so, Joey Inch, you are our Wildcat of the Week, mostly because you recognized on the basketball court that you were getting high emotion and high octane, and you checked yourself out and did not get teed up in the game. And so, Joey, thank you for that restraint. Thank you for that beautiful example of self-control. And we'll just work on making sure we bring our homework home during the weekends. Some shade thrown at you there for good fun. So if you are a friend of Joey, or you are anybody watching this video, let him know. He can get a snack pass from Mrs. Gurney tomorrow, assuming we don't cancel again. But that is what I have for you. Please look for that detailed report, because like I said, attendance is up, giving is up, percentage is up. Everything objectively is great and healthy here, even when it doesn't feel like it. And that is frankly the truth of the gospel. In Mark chapter 9, when people come to Jesus and ask him to heal his son, the man responds with, "I believe you are the faithful one, yet in my current predicament, help my unbelief." And I believe the objective data, subjectively it doesn't always feel like it. I get it. The church can be a wet blanket, and when we are vulnerable and when we are intrusive, we will get burned. But as we do this, we will see that we can pass on the love of Christ, and we'll see that over the course of time, our prayers are answered, and our community will indeed grow. So that is what I have for you, other than to say, here at St. John's, we believe, we love, and we teach. Go in peace, serve the Lord. Thanks be to God. I had to use my hourglass, which is 5 minutes, so we're at 15 minutes. The first time I recorded this, it was 35, so you are welcome, video watchers. Have a blessed day.